The man you're about to meet is a self-proclaimed psychic detective who says he uses special mental abilities to find missing persons. For their relatives, the stakes could not be higher. But as ABC's Sunny Hostin discovered, even in the world of psychics, the truth is still elusive.
Visually, I had almost the movie that a body was thrown over there.
This man is on a search for a body.
I see death by knife.
Troy Griffin is a self-proclaimed psychic detective.
I have in my mind a vision of where I think her body may be.
Troy says he uses his psychic powers to solve crime,
I've worked on about 100 cases overall.
sometimes charging up to $250 an hour for investigative work. And today, he's taking on a missing persons case that gripped the nation.
Kelsey Jean Schelling disappeared on a trip to southern Colorado.
21-year-old Kelsey Schelling, then 8 weeks pregnant, disappeared after making a late-night drive from her home in Denver to see her boyfriend in Pueblo, Colorado. Her family never saw or heard from her again. 4 years after her unsolved disappearance, Kelsey's mother, Laura, is still searching for any signs of her beloved daughter.
Anytime you can find anybody who sincerely wants to help, it means a lot because people come and go very quickly.
Using Troy's psychic intuition and some anonymous tips, they will be combing through this sparsely populated area of Pueblo, Colorado, where Troy will try to clue in on any sign of Kelsey.
When I feel something, you'll see me stop, possibly sweat, anxiety, and that's a place of interest to me.
Before long, he says he's onto something.
When I turn this way, my anxiety, so what happens to me is I feel like something's caught in my throat.
They comb through the rocks and riverbeds at two different points of interest. Troy appears to pick up a bunch of different energies.
Do you think it's possible that Kelsey was here, or?
I don't feel Kelsey here at all. They must have drove by this trailer park.
Back at his office outside of Denver, case files litter his wall like a real gumshoe.
In 6 years, 100 cases. Do you know what the percentage rate is in terms of?
You know, I would say that we're probably, on the cases I work on, 18 to 20%.
Some people would say 20% is kind of low.
But when you look at murder cases and unsolved missing persons, there are very few percentage that actually get solved.
But believing and seeing are two different things. Of the roughly 100 cases Troy says he has worked on, he could not provide one example to ABC News to verify his contribution on a police investigation. Even with Kelsey's case, when contacted, the Pueblo Police Department told us they have no official contact with Troy and are unaware of his investigation.
With Laura, she is a woman that 4 years in is still grieving. Have you been able to contact Kelsey?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
When we contacted Kelsey, it was more just apologies. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean for it to happen. Laura's never going to have closure unless she finds something.
You mentioned that sometimes you work with the police department.
Mm-hmm.
How do they receive you?
I'm lucky if I get 50-50. It really depends on what detectives believe in.
I believe Troy is the real deal.
Rhonda Shea says she's a former client turned friend and that she turned to Troy for help the day after her brother-in-law, Danny Shea, went missing in 2014.
And we loved him dearly. He said, I believe that he is within a few minutes of your home. I see him surrounded by water.
Tragically, Danny's vehicle had gone off the road on a dangerous stretch of road in Colorado, found 2 days later by passing hikers. Rhonda credits Troy with helping them find closure.
It does cross your mind that this is a little bit out there. So it was desperation.
Psychic-based crime solvers are certainly not a new phenomenon. Remember the Court TV reality series Psychic Detectives?
I could see a man that was running.
They've even had their moment in the Hollywood spotlight with hits like The Mentalist.
Nails, earth, fine. He's building something.
Slow down. But psychic readings, especially those in the public eye, have not been exempt from scrutiny. One tragic example, this 2004 reading on The Montel Williams Show, performed by famed psychic Sylvia Brown, speaking to the mother of then missing girl Amanda Berry.
I just hate this. She's not alive, honey.
But 9 years later,
Help me, I'm Amanda Berry.
Prior to her passing in 2013, Sylvia Brown released a statement saying in part, "I have been more right than wrong. If ever there was a time to be grateful and relieved for being mistaken, this is that time."
Any little detail is really, really hard.
But still, the damage was done.
Amanda Berry's mother died thinking that her daughter was dead, and Sylvia Brown took a lot of flack for that. People called her a grief vampire. What do you say to the people that are going to say that about you?
Kelsey's mom, I didn't come out and say that she was dead. I waited for her mom to tell me what she thought. And I don't say you're dead or you're alive. I say I have a feeling.
But you told her that you saw how her daughter was murdered.
I thought that there was strangulation involved.
What if you're wrong?
It's probably time for me to consider a different career.
Troy says he's not taking any money from Laura or any family members. He says he makes most of his money doing psychic readings. Now, for those of you who might still be on the fence, meet famed skeptic Joe Nickel.
I'm probably the world's only full-time, salaried professional, science-based paranormal investigator.
His office in Buffalo, New York is a shrine to cases he claims to have debunked over the years.
What people should realize is psychics cannot do what they claim to do. They have been reviewed by mainstream science and they can't do it.
Joe says that what psychics do doesn't come from otherworldly ability, but rather a series of mentalist tricks often referred to as retrofitting.
That could be defined as after-the-fact matching. And the psychic will say things like, I see water, I'm getting the number 7. And they call these clues.
What do you say to the skeptics?
If you've never been in the people's shoes that I walk with, the people that I help, and walk away with closure moving forward, they're the ones who believed in me.
It's twilight in rural Colorado. As the sun disappears into the night sky, so too do today's hopes of finding any answers.
You seem like you're at a loss for words.
I am, because it affects me, emotionally, personally, but you have to just continue the search.
For Laura, the long, painful search for the daughter who never came home continues.
Another trip home without Kelsey and no answers. I know if I give up, then it just goes away and Kelsey's forgotten. I have to try and keep hope to keep going.
For Nightline, I'm Sunny Hostin in Pueblo, Colorado.